So this is a meaningless choice. This is where Tyrath, the dragon, attacks us, and he's like, where is the still water that you're hiding? So you can pick any option, doesn't really matter. So I'm just gonna go over here. Talking about Aiden, he left this morning. And then he will just attack us eventually, and then time will freeze or like something like that. The time will freeze for everyone when Aiden steps in. And then Aiden will was like, oh wow, why did like Rose not freeze? Then he'll use like special magic to try and freeze her, or like make her fall asleep or something like that. I think he can't actually freeze her, so he'll just like make her fall asleep or something like that. Who cares? But she's out of the picture at the moment. So Aiden will save us here, and we're gonna ask Aiden where he's been hiding all this time. Where have been hiding all this time? Nana Berry, is this any way to talk to your savior? To answer your question, I've been following this dragon for a while now, been masking my presence so that he couldn't find me by using his sight, smell, hearing, or magical sense. I've been watching your battle since it began, and I must say I'm not very impressed. Are you kidding me? What do you expect me to do against a dragon? How about using the device you're holding in your hand? Yeah, and what would you have me do? Max my strength and punch him to death? And excuse me, sir. And it's like, and Aiden is gonna be confused. Aiden frowns his brow and makes his hand gesture towards Rose. What are you doing? Rose asks him. Interesting. Oh, she's like a time weaver. And in turns to me, Barry, I must admit, I don't think I've ever seen such a diversity in a team before. A time weaver, a healer, a survivor from a beacon of hope, and a stat device wielder. I think I'm starting to root for you. But then we could finish off the try. Yeah, I'm not gonna say all that. So we are supposed to choose to ask Aiden about time weavers to learn more about them. So we're gonna go, what's a time weaver? I could tell you, would you rather not find? Yeah, I've already read this, and just going to like talk about like how a time weaver is like able to like nullify the effects of time freezing spells and like reverse time and all that stupid shit. I don't actually necessarily believe in this stuff. I have read some stuff that maybe making like a check mark in like reality you can actually reverse time to that point, but I'm not sure how like scientifically accurate that is. I personally don't like to follow time reversal stuff because I have not seen any reason to believe that time can be reversed. The only reasonable way to assume that time can be reversed is like if there was an alternate dimension with like a parallel Earth, so we could go back to time in their time, which would be if they're like the times are mismatched. If let's say they all parallel Earth and our time is exactly the same, that you cannot travel back in past. But if the other Earth is behind by like let's say 2 hours, so you could travel back 2 hours worth of time back by traveling to their dimension. It's more of like, it's less of time travel, more of dimension travel, to be honest with you. But regardless of all that, not a big fan of time stuff. Though I did enjoy that one movie called The Looper, which was really cool. It was very interesting. So he's gonna give us all his power or whatever. And now we have to decide how we're going to deal with this. Like last time I improvised. There are two endings to this, proper endings. One, Aiden gets really like, I am amazed that you suck ass so much. And the other one is like, oh, I'm impressed. And we're going to go with that one. So we're gonna make a plan before we engage. Going in without a plan, yeah, I've not read this, so I'm gonna read it again. Going in without a plan would be suicidal. I just have to use this time as efficiently as I can. First of all, I need to think about my defenses. I now have access to dozens of powerful protection spells, but it would take me 3 minutes to cast all of them. Even if I use the time freezing spell Aiden cast just now, that would still only save me about 2 minutes, and I'll become unable to use the spell for the remainder of the battle. Then again, the time stopping spell isn't really suited for combat, since the spell breaks as soon as I move a few feet or interact with anyone who's frozen. So this may well be the last time to use it, or maybe I should try to limit casting to only what is absolutely necessary. Let's see, the only thing I need the most in protection is protection from fire. I can't just spend my whole fight trapped inside this barrier, and this spell will grant me some immunity from flames. It will still feel like I'm in an oven, but at least I won't be burned to a crisp. Aside from that, judging by how I've seen the dragon fight so far, I think I can also use some protection for physical damage to defend me from his claw attacks. It won't be enough to stop him from killing me if he lands a strike, but maybe it will help me deflect some of the hits. The strong wind he can generate with his wings might also be a problem. It felt like I was trying to fight a hurricane when the dragon first made his appearance. So I guess I could also use some spell that give me protection from wind. Other than that, if anyone guesses, it is said that some of the older dragons can cast magic, but I do not know if Tyrath is one of them. More than that, I have no way of knowing which kind of magic he'd be specializing in. I'm going to have to decide which protection spell I can cast in the limited time I have at my disposal. So you can actually do this by just casting fire protection, wind protection, physical damage on you, but I'm gonna freeze time and cast all the protection because the guide says that I should do that. So I'm gonna do that. Freeze time, then cast all the protection spells I know just to be sure. The dragon sees that his fire breath isn't working, so he tries to dive in again, but my berry is too strong to be broken as easily as Darren's though, so he'll be busy for a while. Now that I've established my defensive strategy, I need to think about the offensives. With the spells I have access to now, I have almost limitless choice, but I'll have to think of a tactic that can defeat Tyrath in a few minutes I have left. I'm going to definitely need to cast a flight spell on myself, since it would be too difficult to engage the dragon otherwise. The thing is, I'm lacking the most here is information about my enemy. All I have to go on is legends and fairy tales, and I'm not sure how much I can rely on any of them in this situation. One thing that most dragons agree on is that dragons have a high elemental resistance to fire, that they are immune to mind affecting spells and illusions. Other than that, I have no idea which spells would work best. I already know that Kate's ice didn't really hurt the dragon, but maybe water would be a better choice. Water is, after all, the opposing element to fire. Actually, forget water. If I am to try elemental magic, I may as well try them all, except fire, of course. Darren's sword seems to at least be able to get through the dragon's tough scales, but I do not know what enchantments he has on it. Maybe I can persuade him to give me his sword for the duration of the battle. Then I can fight Tyrath head on. The downside of this plan is that I don't seem to have the strength-enhancing spells in my repertoire, so the power of my swing would entirely depend on my strength stat. By the way, if you'd go the brawler route, which is another achievement you can get at this point, in which you're just like swinging honestly with this weird ass sword, you can actually swing the sword if you have 4 strength, so you have to put up your strength to 4. Is that even allowed at this point? Yeah, it is allowed to this point to put your strength up to 4, so you can put your strength up to 4. Obviously for the brawler achievement you're supposed to fail that, but regardless you can check those achievements out yourself, because if I had to make a video on achievements, oh boy, I will literally go insane. Darren's sword seems to be able to get through the dragon's tough scales, but I do not know what enchantments he has on it. Maybe I could persuade him. Yeah, I already read all this. Downside of this plan is that I don't have the shape-shifting magic is pretty useless in this situation because 2 main reasons. First of all, these spells cannot be used to transform into something much bigger than my actual size, so it's not like I can just turn into a dragon and fight Tyrath on equal footing. Secondly, you cannot cast spells as shape-shifting, so my mobility would be greatly reduced because I couldn't teleport, so it's just not worth in any way I look at it. Using summoning spell is out of the question as well, since none of these spells were designed to fight an enemy of this caliber. The most any of the unsummoned creatures would do is moderately inconvenience Tyrath or provide a distraction. Maybe I'm thinking too much on too small of a scale though. With the powers I have at my disposal right now, I could be doing a lot more damage. I could literally make a tornado out of thin air, or use earth magic to animate a giant rock that would dwarf the dragon and would smash him between his hands. I could also make a blizzard, a lightning storm, rain of acid, even a rain of meteoroids. The problem with all these big spells is that it's almost impossible to prevent collateral damage. So I'd be forced to cast a lot of protection on Kate, Darren, Kate, Rose, and even myself beforehand to make sure we're all safe, which would take me about a minute. The time freezing spell wouldn't save me much time in this case, since we're relatively far apart from each other. Moving would cancel the spell stopping effects. Half a minute of my time is already up. I need to decide fast.